Blessings, everybody. Welcome. It's been quite some time, and I am feeling like there is a transmission that wants to come through from the Underwater Civilisations. There isn't a particular one that is jumping out to me at the moment, but I feel like this message is going to be a collective message from them to us, and I hope that this serves your greatest and highest good. So I will be using some cards today. I feel called to pull from the Golden Age card deck from Izzy Ivy, and then I also have the Beyond Lemuria deck, also from the same person. Just felt really called towards these two decks as I was tuning in and feeling into which ones want to come accompany me for this transmission. So without further ado, let's begin. I have no idea what's going to come through, no idea. I didn't really tune in, and I wasn't really feeling into making any content for the past few weeks, so when this came to me, I was like, yeah, all right, maybe I'll have some fun and pull some cards and see what messages come through. So, we have the first card, Shine Your Light. Let me just, and it's, look at this, the mermaid tail and very underwater civilization vibes. And then rainbow portals. This also looks very underwater worldly. Interesting. Rainbow portal. Shine your light. Let's see if there's, feel called to pull one more card from this. Vines. Priestess of portals. I don't know what this message is gonna be. And throat chakra, express your truth. Very interesting. Let's see. How do I put this? I know you guys can't see it, but it doesn't matter. It's the message that that matters, yeah? So the first card that I pulled with this mermaid looking being, it just reminded me of the underwater creatures that has been coming in my awareness in meditation, that actually inspired or nudged me to channel this video. And I have seen a couple of underwater creatures like the jellyfish, squids, a hybrid of them, sea dragons, seahorses, and then also in the ocean the other day, I got stung by a jellyfish. It wasn't harmful or anything, it was just like painful in the instant. And that was really interesting because after that, that was when the sea dragons and the sea creatures started to become very apparent in my visions during meditation. They didn't really say anything. They didn't really express that there was a specific message. So I'm also looking forward to what comes through this transmission. The being in this first card actually reminds me of this series that I'm currently watching. It is very similar to this underwater civilization, this underwater tribe that the series is portraying. There are a couple of underwater tribes, and then there are celestial tribes, and there are humans like mortals and immortals, and they interact in their day-to-day life. I think the message overall, generally, that the underwater civilizations want to bring forth to us is to not completely close off the idea that beings like this actually exist. It's not really about whether they're benevolent or malevolent. I think there's a lot of this dark and light thing happening in the world, not just in the spiritual community now. There's a lot of contrast, there's a lot of polarity, and that is actually part of the process of converging these dualities and converging these polarities back into what it originally was in the first place. And at the end of the day, everything collapses back to one, or 1 and 0 is kind of the same thing. It's like this binary thing, and 1 is not separate from the 0, and 0 is not separate from 1. It's almost like it's just two sides of the same coin. And if you have heard of the double slit experiment, you would have this understanding that a particle, like a photon, can act like a particle. It can exhibit traits that shows that it's a particle, yet at the same time it can also exhibit traits that represents itself as a waveform. So how can these two things simultaneously exist as one? That is something that conventional physics couldn't explain, and so that gave rise to, quantum physics. And this double slit experiment thing has been coming up in my own meditation for a lot, in terms of explaining what our brain can comprehend when we talk about the 0 point field, right? You hear people talk about the 0 point field as nothingness, but yet at the same time it is everything. It is all of the potentials all at once existing in the 0 point field, but yet it is nothing. How can nothing and everything exist simultaneously? That is the paradox. But when you journey on further and deeper into whatever modalities, and at the end of the day, everything just points us back to ourselves, to the true nature of reality, which then eventually will point you towards this 0 point field, towards this oneness thing. And it is hard to, and it is not necessary to explain it using words, because, as you know, words might limit and also might distort some of the true essence of what's coming through. So it's something for us individuals to really experience it for ourselves. That's where the true teaching is. So back to the message that it wants to share with us, not discarding and not completely resisting the fact that, or the possibility, not even the fact if it's something that you can't accept, the possibility that such civilizations do exist underwater and above the sky. 2 days ago, or a couple of days ago, I was at the beach, and for a long time I haven't seen clouds in the shape of dragons, and I was just wondering, like a couple of days ago, where did all the dragons go? Because there were a few weeks, a couple of months ago, where dragon activity was super heightened in the sky. They were literally manifesting in the sky as clouds, and then it was like nothing. And I wondered, where are they? And a couple of days ago, they showed up. First, I saw a phoenix. It was literally, it looked like a phoenix. It's not a vague shape. It is so clear that it's a phoenix. I didn't have my phone with me, so I couldn't take a picture of it. I would have, but the phoenix showed up, and I was like, there you are, like, hey, you're back. And then I wondered, usually if there's a phoenix, that'd be a dragon. Where's the dragon? And then a couple of minutes after I looked around, I wasn't looking for it, but then I saw this dragon that was in the sky, and it really looked like there was a dragon head and then the long body, and it was there. You know, who said that these are simply our imagination? Can't they be true? And if they aren't true, why are there these myths to begin with? Why are there these folklores to begin with, these stories to begin with? And our capacity to accept these things actually points towards our pace at which humanity evolve and develop. What I have noticed, and also where I have and how I have experienced life from, is a state where everything just feels so taught, like it feels so programmed. And if you didn't take yourself out of that box, you wouldn't even realize that you have been living in that box. And it's when I started to question, who said that these things can't be real? Who said that I can't, live life this way? Who said that by the age of 27 that I need to, get married, I need to have a house, I need to have a car, and then I need to start a family? Who said that all of these things were things that I needed to achieve in my life in order to somewhat have a sense of fulfillment that I have completed being a human? Who said that? Like, who? Literally, who made up all of this? That's when I started to really realize that these layers of conditioning start to fall away, and to not have the resistance. For example, if there's a day or a week that I don't feel like doing anything, no resistance towards, I think I need to be doing something productive. That was how I was programmed in the past, in a very linear, chronological, and a very template way that, this is your life, this is how you should be living every day. And then when you don't, it feels like, something is wrong, when in fact nothing is wrong. Can you release that resistance and allow this experience or this phase of your life to show you what it is that it needs to show you, to teach you what it needs to teach you? So for me, when I feel like, I have no resistance, then life will show me, actually you still do have some resistance in this aspect or in this area of your life. And then there's always a layer and a level deeper that I can learn to release and to accept and to flow without resistance. So that is one key thing that I am sort of integrating in my journey. And also I feel that this is also a message that's coming through, maybe in a different flavor, about non-resistance towards these things that people might call conspiracy theories, or things in terms of whether ETs exist or not. I mean, we're not here to argue whether it exists or not and to find evidences of them, but just why not? Why not? The earth is so big, the universe is so huge. Do we really think that we exist alone? Why not other creatures exist, other beings exist, right? So that level of open-mindedness, I think that also gives us more bandwidth. It stretches. It feels like I'm a rubber band, that I'm being stretched at the moment, and my bandwidth of accepting what I couldn't accept in the past is expanding. And it's very interesting to observe that, and to also at some point observe these old thoughts coming through in a very automatic, autopilot kind of way, where the first instant is my programming from the past, and then I have to sit with it and be like, oh, maybe, why not? Why can't I accept this? Why can't I accept this request that is, you know, I wouldn't have even thought about accepting and agreeing to in the past? Why not? Maybe there's something. Maybe even if there's nothing, why not? I'm not sure if the description of this card actually matches with what's coming through. I mean, it doesn't need to. I have a feeling it's not relevant. It's just this being that wants to speak to us, and it's actually a very, very, very beautiful being. Feels like a princess of this mermaid tribe that's living underwater. Before we continue, just a quick announcement. Our upcoming trip to Egypt commences 1st of November of 2025. If you have been on the fence, or if you resonate and are thinking about applying, feel free to check out the link in the description box below. All the details are on the webpage, and if you feel called, I'm looking forward to receiving your application and seeing you on the trip. Alright, I promise it's gonna be short. Let's continue. Another message that's coming through is about coexisting. I think when I don't know about you, but for me, when I tune into the collective field, not everybody, it's much better now, but there are still people who think this way, where this whole story of, oh, if there's another race that's coming, then they're trying to invade us, and they're trying to wipe out the human race, and they're trying to conquer the human race, they're trying to conquer Earth and, you know, kick us out. Like, why can't we coexist together peacefully? Why can't we share our resources? Why can't we share our knowledge? I think this is a big piece that is coming through, is about coexisting with different beings. You know how, I don't know why this weird analogy is coming through, but sometimes when I go to like a hotel room or a place that I need to stay, right, in a different country, not my home, and I feel that there is a presence of something in this room that I can't quite put a word to, but it's not malevolent, it's not evil, it's just there. Sometimes I feel into that, and all I say is, you can have your own space. I'm just here for a couple of days, and I won't bother you. I'll just sleep on this bed, and then in a couple of days I will leave. And you don't need to bother me, I don't need to bother you. We can coexist, we can share the room, but that's the boundary that I draw. And yeah, nothing really happens. So the idea of sharing the space, the idea of sharing the resource, the idea of sharing knowledge and coexisting with beings that are not of our race, not our species, why can't we do that? Can we ease into the acceptance of coexisting with these beings? They might not be physical, because they might not want to, you know, manifest themselves in 3D density. They might exist, you know, in another dimension. It doesn't mean that if we don't see them, then they're not there. So yeah, the ocean is so vast, and we haven't even explored, I don't know what's the number, maybe 80% of what the ocean is. So the possibility of having beings underwater is quite high. It's just we haven't reached them yet, and perhaps we can't see them, and we don't have yet the technology to communicate with them, but the idea, the possibility is there, and why can't we accept that? Can we accept that? And can we then coexist with them? So peace is another part that comes through with the coexisting bit. Okay, I feel like the message from this mermaid princess is finished, so I will put her down. The second card that I drew is Rainbow Portals, and I feel like this is kind of a similar essence of the message where underwater civilizations exist, and also civilizations that are beyond our earth, beyond our sky, celestial civilizations exist as well. And there's actually one thing that I remember my freediving experience. When I descend deeper and deeper and deeper into the ocean, I actually feel like somehow the ocean is connected to the cosmos. And somehow it feels like there is a portal that can bring us through the deep waters into the cosmos. It also reminds me of a particular temple in Egypt. I can't exactly remember which one it is, but there are these drawings on the walls that depict beings sailing on boats through the cosmos. And it just made me wonder, is that a way that they're depicting interdimensional travel? Did beings of that ancient civilization knew how to travel interdimensionally? If they were using spacecrafts more advanced than ours right now, why didn't they depict that as a spaceship? Why did they draw it as a boat? I mean, there are different ways of interpreting this, but that's just something that caught my attention when our guide explained that illustration. And then having that experience freediving, and that feeling of this mystery and that connection to the cosmos. And I see the parallels when we're swimming and when we see astronauts in their, what is it called, ship, rocket ship, spaceship, when there's zero gravity and they're trying to get to somewhere. It looks like they're swimming, it looks like they're floating, and at some point when we descend, I think it's beyond 20 meters or beyond 30 meters deep into the ocean, you experience zero gravity as well. You experience free fall, so you no longer have to continue to put a force for you to go deeper. You just gotta relax and you free fall. So I haven't yet experienced that. I would love to, and hopefully in the Blue Hole I would experience that in November during our, or after our Egypt trip. I'll be heading to the hub. So yeah, that is this card. I feel like it is connected very much to the message that's coming through. It's just showing us that as above, so below. So when there are underwater civilizations, there are also civilizations that are above the sky, and who knows, maybe they're a mirror of each other, just in different states. Just like how, yeah, there is solid, liquid, gaseous state, right? So the underwater civilization is just the liquid state, and then the celestial realm is just the gaseous state. So yeah, very interesting. Now this is drawing my attention, the Merkaba, the butterfly, and the angelic wings. Even though it says throat chakra here, I'm not sure if the message will be about throat chakra, but the first thing that drew my attention was actually the Merkaba when I was tuning into the message that is coming through. And the Merkaba is about the three body. I think in ancient Egyptian, they have their own comprehension of Merka and Ba. I cannot remember what I read up about that. So let's forget about that. And what's coming through is that regardless of what labels different civilizations and different teachings, different schools teach about the Merkaba or talk about the body, what's coming through is this three body system. And when I tune into it, it feels like the physical, right? The very dense, like this flesh that we have, that's one body. And then we have the second layer of our body that is not very far away from our physical body, but it's still very much attached to it. So I think some people call it the astral body. So basically, I don't know. I've read, many different people saying different things, and I get confused sometimes and I give up and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to tune into my intuition and feel into it, and not let labels confuse me. So maybe that's a message for you as well, because I feel like there's just so much information out there, and what's the correct one and what's, it doesn't really matter. Tune into it and you will have your own comprehension of what it means to you, and that's the most important. So yes, the first body is the flesh, this physical body, and then there's a second body that is the subtle body that is still very much connected to the physical, and then we have the last layer that is detached in a sense, that is limitless. It is not limited. It is just it. Maybe you could call it consciousness. I don't know. So these three layers of our bodies, and obviously there are so many sub bodies as well. If we really tune into the subtle layers and the nuances of it, there's just so many. So just be aware that it's not one is right or the other is wrong. It's just different interpretations and different ways of explaining. So the Merkaba, these three body, when you are able to unite them, that is where you are able to reach states where you're not bounded by conditioning or the 3D reality. When in meditation, you're able to converge all these three bodies together, that is when you can access states of limitless possibilities, where you can reach states so pure that you haven't actually experienced before. And there's always more. There's always something more, because this entire reality is infinite. How to reach this state, how to unite your three bodies, how to activate the Merkaba, that is a question, right? That everybody wants to achieve. But for me, lately I have really been just enjoying the idea of not having any guidance and allowing myself to just sit in silence and allow where this experience wants to bring me. And that brings back to the topic of non-resistance in the beginning. No resistance around what comes up in meditation. If there is a thought that comes up, it's okay. It can be there. It can coexist. Again, coexisting with different beings. Your thoughts can all coexist at the same time. Who said that you need to get rid of this so that you can achieve that? Why can't they all coexist? So when my friend shared this, her sharing with me about thoughts coexisting, it really clicked something for me in meditation. I don't need to know what to do. I don't need to get rid of any thoughts that I don't want. It can be there. And then yet at the same time, there can be so many different things going on, but it doesn't bother me. And it doesn't affect my experience as well. So if you need some guidance, what really helped me to quiet the mind and to just be more sensitive and to feel what's happening in my body in terms of vibrations, or if you just need something to focus on, Om is actually, meditating on Om was very helpful for me, and you could try that. And I don't mean chanting Om out verbally, that you could do that in the beginning of your practice, but then after that, allow yourself to feel into the sensations around your third eye when you chant Om. If it's not your third eye, feel into the vibrations that Om is resonating throughout your body and focus on that vibration. Feel into that, not grip onto it and not let it go, because at some point it will dissipate, and it's fine. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. At some point it will dissipate, but allow yourself to just immerse in that, feel that vibration, and feel it resonating throughout your body, throughout your organs, throughout your cells. That is a very helpful way for me that I have realized if my mind is very busy and I need a way to calm it down and to get into that state. Om is actually a great way to reset and also recalibrate, and to, I guess, very helpful to converge all of this as well, because at the end of the day, Om is the sound of creation. Before creation, there's actually something else. Perhaps it's a 0-point field. And from the 0-point field manifests creation, the sound of Om. And so people say Om is the beginning of creation. So when you chant that, you actually reach that state of the beginning when you're not separate from source, the beginning when you're not yet a body, the beginning where you are just that. So that is very helpful in terms of accessing the Merkaba or activating the Merkaba, because it's when everything, the three bodies, before it's separated, is unified to begin with. So, okay, that is the Merkaba. So yeah, try that if that resonates with you. Otherwise, yeah, maybe Yoga Nidra, maybe mantra chanting, maybe it's yours to explore. I think on this journey, we need to explore. It's not like, oh, this person said that this is, the way that works for her, and I'm going to try that, and that's the best way, and I cannot try anything else. No, everybody is different, and what works for me, what works for someone else, might not work for you, and the only way to realize is to actually experience it and to try it. So whatever feels called to you, I think your intuition, your soul will know and will let you know what that is. So don't be afraid to dabble. Obviously, with discernment and, connect with your own intuition about what feels right and what doesn't. Moving on to the last card, it's vines. We have a lot of spirally thing, I just realized. Portals. From this deck of Golden Age, I pulled 2 portal cards. I feel like this is a great conclusion card. I feel like there are more cards. First we had the Water Civilization, and then we have the Celestial Civilizations, Beyond Our Sky, and then we have the Earth. There's a little ladybug here, just one, that I just noticed. Very earthly connection with earthly beings. There are 2 parts to this. The first part is about humans, like us. The second one is about beings that are on Earth that we might not come really face to face with. Maybe inner Earth civilizations as well. Again, the coexisting bit, and also the bit of not completely rejecting that idea that this exists. There are a lot of things that are going to happen in our realities that will require us to have a very open mind. Things that we thought couldn't exist, or things that we thought can't be true, or things that we thought can't work, actually will start showing themselves. So instead of resisting them, which can cause a lot of turmoil, try to be more open-minded to these topics or to these themes, things, situations, experiences that will unfold in our realities. The message is also about connecting with plant spirits and insects and animals, not just limited to land, but also the sea, and also, you know, birds that fly in the sky. So the land, the ocean, and the sky, they are converging. It's interesting. So this 3 realms is converging, is coexisting. Simultaneously, our bodies, our 3 bodies, are converging, are coexisting, harmonizing. What an interesting realization that just came through. So as our 3 bodies merge and harmonize and is able to stabilize somewhat in this reality, in this body, we're able to access more subtle states of realities, and also we will become more sensitive to a lot of things. So this sensitivity allows us to be able to, in a sense, communicate with extra-dimensional beings, with beings that are not humans, with these civilizations, with these tribes, with these beings that live underwater, live in the sky, and even on Earth, that we could not see with the naked eyes in the past. Maybe some of you might also become more sensitive to seeing beyond the 3D. Things like seeing the dragons and the phoenix in the sky, noticing that clouds usually don't look like that, and instead of throwing it aside as, that's my imagination, I'm just thinking too much, could be real. Sometimes insects, they come to us, like for example, grasshoppers are one kind of insects that I feel whenever I see them, I feel like it's a being there, like literally. It's not just a grasshopper, like an Octorian or Andromedan or mantis being trying to communicate with me. Most of the time I won't understand, because I feel like they're modulating very high frequency codes that I don't understand to begin with and they infuse it into my vessel. Allow yourself time in nature, in raw nature. Commune with the rivers, commune with the waterfalls, commune with the wind, with the ocean, with the forest, with the leaves, with the insects, with everything. That nature actually will support us very much in this journey that we are all journeying through. If you're here, you're probably going through a lot of deaths and rebirths. You're probably evolving a lot. If you look at yourself 6 months ago or a year ago, you would feel like, who is that? Like, that feels like a past life. And sometimes when certain, planets align, or there are certain celestial activities, solar activities, your body will feel very tired. Sometimes it might manifest as an illness, and then you need to sleep for like 2-3 days. Just allow yourself to do that, and then remember that every time you feel like you need some grounding, nature is always there, and it always heals. It always recalibrates. Something about nature, it recalibrates itself, and then it recalibrates the people or the creatures or the beings that are in it as well. So big part of it is nature. And for some reason, the plant spirits are really coming through. I'm not sure what they want to say, but communicate with the plants. Maybe it's your calling to go for a plant ceremony. I don't know. Do your due diligence though, and feel into it and discern. There are many people doing it, but not many are of the purest intention. So just be aware of that. That's about it. I feel like you don't need to do a ceremony, a plant ceremony, to communicate with the plants. Even if you have plants at home, while you're watering them, speak to them, sing to them, connect with them. And yeah, it's a relationship. So I think that is it for all of it. Last but not least, before I go, we still do have a couple of spots left for our upcoming trip to Egypt that commences on the 1st of November. If you feel called to it, if you feel called to journey with me, feel free to check the link in the description box below. That's it. Thank you so much for sitting through this and for receiving, and I hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you do have any requests, feel free to drop it in the comments below as well, and I will feel into it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.